What the fuck happened?
There are a couple of different ways to get a TXV. One way is to just tell somebody the model and serial number and they give you a part number. That's what most people are going to insist is the only way to go about it. But if you don't have a model and serial number, or the valve's obviously not original or something, you can select the individual parts of the valve yourself based on the capacity and the type of refrigerant, the fittings, and the equalizer type. And when you do that, you have to put the thing together yourself like this. I didn't select these parts, someone else did. Snickerman. He was snickering while he was selecting these parts. He was saying, yeah, look, now he's going to come and fix it. And it's not going to be the right valve, and he's going to have to do some hackery to get it to go in. He was snickering, rubbing his hands together. It's walk-in cooler, 67 degrees. TXV bulb hanging here because TXV's been condemned. We've got our little baby suction line, a 1/4-inch liquid line, which is warm. Snickerman said that the valve was stuck closed. It wasn't letting any refrigerant flow, so I guess it opened after he left. Oh, Snickerman, because he's always snickering. He thinks everything's funny. He's like Snickerman. So I'm going to change this TXV now. And while I do so, I'm going to explain what the hell happened to Parts Cannon on EN1. Parts Cannon originated as a series of videos depicting really bad work done by one individual who was known as Parts Cannon. It was never intended to teach anybody anything, it was really just a show and tell. Eventually that guy got fired, and we eventually fixed all the things that he broke. Once all Parts Cannon screw-ups had been fixed, more people came and replaced Parts Cannon, did similar work. So there was still plenty to record about. And plus the layer got destroyed. So I didn't have much better to do than to record Parts Cannon videos all the time. I recorded 130 of these things. And eventually, because of doing that, the YouTube algorithm associated my channel with HVAC channels. My audience went to 100% United States, and the only videos I was ever suggested under were HVAC related ones. It wasn't a big deal. Got me some subscribers and stuff. Everything was going pretty good. And then I made a video that had nothing to do with HVAC. The YouTube algorithm decided to punish me. For weeks I got no suggestions and no views, and it became clear that I was intended to be an HVAC channel. That's what YouTube thought about me. I didn't like that very much. There are some people out there that subscribe because of Parts Cannon. They really want to know what happened to Parts Cannon. I just stopped making those videos. So, here's why I stopped making the videos. I was letting this thing pump down. It's apparently going to take a long time to pump that down. But it's getting there eventually, so we'll just drone on. In the meantime, this walk-in freezer was featured in one of my videos. World's tallest subway, see? Because we just happen to be in a city where there's tall buildings. But it's not really the world's tallest subway. That was just the title. A lot of people got the wrong idea of what Parts Cannon's all about. They think it's an educational HVAC show and channel. They think Satanic Induction is an educational HVAC channel. There are educational HVAC videos on this channel, but that's not the point of the channel. I made this channel so I could show people some electronics projects that I was doing. HVAC wasn't supposed to be a part of it at all. And by some complicated turn of events explained in the finishing the layer video, it became the centerpiece of the channel. I don't mind making Parts Cannon, actually, and I had several videos ready to go that never got published that are still sitting there right now. Sure, it's taking a while. So I live in a small town somewhere in the United States known as bumfuck Egypt. There aren't a lot of people in Bumfuck Egypt, so we travel far for work. We go 100 miles in any direction for work. And in that large service area, there's been a socioeconomic depression of sorts, triggering a mass exodus of people. So now there's a bunch of businesses selling and a bunch of people moving out, lots of abandoned houses and businesses and things like that. Our customer base has basically packed up and left. They've went on to a more sensible part of the country because things are just kind of really messed up around here. So anyway, now that that's all pumped down, we're going to show you some ladder safety tips and tricks here. I ain't even turned off this AC unit. It'll kick on under my feet every once in a while. Parts Cannon is not an educational show. You might learn something, but you're just as likely to learn from my mistakes as you are for me to teach you something on purpose. Nobody should ever get the idea I'm an educational HVAC channel. I'm named after Satan. Here's a nice example of why you've been seeing less Parts Cannon. There's fewer and fewer things I feel like making a video about. This is an internally equalized TXV. This is an externally equalized TXV. They're not interchangeable. I can't just swap this in and out of here. See right there? That's the equalizer line. And Snickerman cracked those lines to verify the refrigerant was there. He was in here touching this valve and he knows that it's internally equalized. Now, did he go by the model number? It's not a service stuff. That is the equalizer line. Someone deleted it when they installed this TXV. The original one was sweated in, and that's the reason why there's these adapters. So I can't install the TXV as it is now. So here's my solution to the equalizer problem. I got some plumbing grade 1/4-inch copper and flare nut and a service tee. I'm going to stick it on that service port over there. I got my pressure relief tool here, and I'm going to install it right here on the service port. That'll ensure that the pressure's already released. And I'm in this tiny little box with all that refrigerant, except that nothing leaked out because the system's pumping out. There that is, the new valve is flared in. I just got to run the equalizer line. So, what are we going to do about that? I'm going to take my pressure relieving tool off of here. I'm going to attach my service tee to it. There you have it. That's how we installed the TXV. So, job done. Now let's go do the vacuum and stuff. It's now time to vacuum the line set and add some refrigerant because it's pretty much out. And we're going to invite a wave of comments about how we're not doing things right. Because some people seem to think that I made this Parts Cannon series to teach you something. You couldn't have had it more backwards than that. There are plenty of YouTube channels out there, sponsored and monetized and all of that, that specialize in showing you the right way to do stuff. That's not my job. I'm showing how to not do it that way. Watch this. I've just cracked that liquid line. I'm gonna bleed it through. Okay, vacuum done. Now that's taken care of. Let's add some refrigerant to this thing, because it's really low. I got my tank sideways here. I'm gonna start dumping it in. I am doing this, but I'm gonna pretend like I'm not because it upsets Karens. more refrigerant. We don't care about pressures. I'm just going to dump it in until that sight glass clears, unless the head pressure shoots up first. That's not too high yet, so I'm going to keep on adding. Let's talk about non-condensables. Let's talk about micron gauges. Let's talk about line temperatures. This one's getting pretty cool. And tell me whether I should continue part scanning on EN1. And we get sweat on all the U-bends. Suction line's beer can cold. Good to go. I'm going to secure this cover with one screw. We're all set. An hour later or something like that, it's 42 degrees. Yeah. It smells like onions and cucumbers. That'll work. She's good to go. That line is ice cold. Ice cold. Some might even say beer can cold. That's good enough for me. I'm not going to adjust the TXV. I'm not going to check the superheat. I'm not going to bother with any of that. Because I'm not an HVAC channel. You hit up HVACR videos if you want to learn how to do things right. He likes doing things correctly. There's a lot of channels like his that intend to be educational. This ain't one of them. I show people what I did. I never intended to teach you anything. And if you learn from me, you might learn wrong. This is a walk-in cooler condenser with a scroll compressor. Look, it has a suction valve, factory installed. It's also apparently low on refrigerant. Big surprise. But I thought that was interesting. Started putting that valve on the scroll compressors at the factory. What a nice installation job too. Looks pretty clean. Unless you get up close and look at the details. They burnt the wall, man. That's like they're not even trying. Here's a froze up AC unit. See? Ice all up on the compressor. Customer called and said, hey, my stuff froze up. What should I do? Someone at the office told him, set the fan switch to on. So that's what they did. I've got the breaker turned off now. That's why it's not running. Of course, it was running when I walked up. See the evaporator section? Well, here's the evaporator. You can tell because of all the ice. That's cold, cold. My fingers are sticking to it. Let's look in there, see what we're working with. Oh, look. Look at it, it's pouring out. It's literally spraying right on that electrical stuff too. Look at that. It just doesn't get any better than this. It's froze up solid. It's going to take a second for that to melt. I guess then we'll charge it up. I'm going to put this cover back on now. When I come back later and air's not pouring out of here, then I know the ice is melted. So why did I stop making parts cannon episodes? Man, I'm tired of parts cannon. I'm tired of all things associated with parts cannon. I'm tired of the places I work at. I'm tired of the work we do there. I'm tired of the money I make doing it. So, I thought I'd just stop doing it. But to be honest, I miss making parts cannon, so I'll probably go back to making it now. Might have a slightly different feel than it used to. I deleted the original parts cannon on EN1 playlist, and now it's been separated into 4 categories. And we'll put new episodes into their respective categories when they come out. It's that new walk-in cooler I showed you downstairs. So they really went the extra mile, mostly. There's this interesting contrast between hackery and pride in your work. See, like, they carefully bent this stuff. They didn't make a point to keep the distance between the pipes even. Right here, the suction line is jammed right up against this electrical box. Look, rubber clamps. See what I'm saying? Here's a place where a 1.5-inch section of pipe was pieced in there and it split like crazy, and they left it like that. The floor is spongy. You know, if you've been following this series since the beginning, you've probably seen just about all the equipment I'll ever work on. But things are going to change soon. Parts Cannon is going to relocate. Remember I told you the customer base is packed up and left, moving to a more sensible part of the country? I'm going to follow them. Maybe when we get there, I'll continue where I left off, showing you the new and improved Parts Cannon. But I don't know. Just gonna have to wait and see. You know one thing though. We're not gonna keep doing it the same old way we've been doing it. Well, if you've made it to this point, hopefully I've answered your questions about what the hell happened to Parts Cannon on EN1. If you hadn't been wondering that because you've never heard of Parts Cannon, and you still made it to this point, well, good for you. There's more where this came from. And it's definitely not an HVAC channel. But we do a fair bit of HVAC. It's more refrigeration and cooking equipment than HVAC because, you know, HVAC companies charge less. But you get the idea. But this is Parts Cannon on EN1, a series of over 100 videos on YouTube of a guy going to work, doing stuff wrong. Sometimes I do it right, but not always. Remember, if you're going to leave a comment talking about what I've done wrong or what an idiot I am or something, make sure that you word it so that the YouTube algorithm doesn't automatically delete your comment. If you use any dirty words, you might get held for review, and we don't want that. We support freedom of expression here. That includes the negative opinions about my YouTube videos. So remember the poopy pants little algorithm. I just noticed this. Look at that. It's beautiful. It's all about the attention to detail.